Hi, everybody. This is 1,142 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. I hope everything's going well for you. So we have lots of news again. This is a testament to God's faith, uh, God's faithfulness. And let me see if I'm on here, if everything is working. And I'm so grateful. I also wanted to check how many signatures um, that were on the petition because I'm very grateful. We are very grateful for all of them, and I hope that we don't stop here, that we get more signatures because, we're very worried about this soldier on Fort Bliss with this situation on Fort Bliss that's so dangerous for our service members. And if you're a whistleblower, I know my husband said when when we received the information that these arrests in July of 2020 were a result of Richard's whistleblowing, um, and that he wasn't given the protection as a whistleblower like he should have gotten. My husband was like, that's when he needed to get up and leave, when he feared for his life and had to buy a pistol because he was not offered the whistleblower protection, and it was the likes of Special Agent Tavita Nusa, who had failed, Special Agent Marlon Soto, who had failed our soldiers, um, the VA, who has failed our soldiers, Park University, who has failed our soldiers, the JAG, who has failed our soldiers, the IG, who has failed our soldiers, and even going outside of Fort Bliss to the AG and the DA, and they'll spend uh, millions. Isn't that what um, the article? What is this? Joe Spencer, what he was saying, that justice doesn't have a price, and yet he wouldn't give us the information on how much you know how many people are involved in this, how much money they've spent on the Patrick Crucius Walmart case. And so we've asked Ms. Schnotty, Amy Schnotty, from Austin, who works for the governor, to provide that public information to us. And so we're getting institutional help there to know how much was spent for the Walmart case, Patrick Crucius case, because that's a slam dunk case. I mean, you have really from guilty. He pleaded guilty, and they have the weapon, and they have the bullets, they have the video footage, they have the remains of the people, they have everything, right? So why is this going on and on and on? And yeah, that's a question for us, because how much are they spending for Richard's case? And we're getting back from Intel that it's millions of dollars, millions, way beyond 4 million, maybe beyond 6 million, up to $9 million that they're spending on covering up this code red murder, this code red murder of our son. That's what I believe. That's what we believe, that at this point, all of our hard evidence, all of the irregularities, all of the circumstantial evidence points to a uh, a real conspiracy, a real collusion, a real planned code red retaliation of Richard. That's what it points to. And so we're getting more and more information. And because we have been turning in to the authorities everything that we have, and I come on here every day with everything that we have, unless it puts people in risk, like the name of this soldier on Fort Bliss. I mean, the institutions have his name, but if he does, the best that we can do is show him our support by signing the petition and praying for him, and also making sure that Veronica Escobar supports him, making sure that Major General Eisenhower supports him, making sure that Senator Ted Cruz supports him, making sure that the law enforcement agencies know that we are behind this soldier who knows that in the JAG there on Fort Bliss, there's a real problem. They're working outside of the law. We have it in our case as well. And that if you want to report fraud, waste, and abuse, they are blocking it. They are blocking it. And so we need to, where does a soldier go when they see this kind of fraud, waste, and abuse, these kind of criminal activity on Fort Bliss? They need to have a congressional inquiry. So he was courageous enough to request a congressional inquiry, which holds much more weight because of the legal obligations of being a active duty service members than compared to a civilian. So Veronica Escobar and Senator Ted Cruz, they have a legal obligation to put this active duty service members request for a congressional inquiry, uh, you know, first of to answer it and to get it going. So that's why we need the letters to remind them of their legal obligation, because we're in a mess of a situation. It seems like uh, so many ministers, I want to call them ministers, because they are supposed to administer our laws um, and defend our Constitution, have forgotten what they're supposed to be doing because the politics have become so crazy. So that's why we ask for you to sign the petition, write Veronica Escobar. It's something we can all get behind. What American, including the hearts that are the chief suspects in this case, that have denied so many things, they need to take a lie detector test. I will take a lie detector test. Take a lie detector test and support this soldier's congressional inquiry, and let's get all of it out on the table, and then we'll know what happened to Richard, and we'll know what is true, right? And so Veronica Escobar should be right behind this, because if she doesn't, then she doesn't care about our service members. She doesn't care to fulfill her duty, her legal obligations to our service members. So it's very important. And the same thing with Ted Cruz. He needs to be able to stand up for our service members and their concerns. And Richard's case is a huge concern, and it's tearing up the community. Absolutely. Because of the fear mongering, because of the harassment, because of the witness tampering, because of the leaks, the file leaks, the absolute corruption, the fraud corruption, using very private information, files from other people, misusing social security numbers. This is all alleged. This is all, I have to say that to be safe, but this is all, we have confirmed that Richard's social security number has been misused. And, and it's not just Richard, and their identities are being misused. It seems to be, remember when we first got to Fort Bliss, it was just brazenly misused and stolen, his identity. And we know this through the Interpol. the Interpol photograph, which is not Richard. It is like a stolen identity. And it seems within the VA, within small circles of people, including Leilani Hart, because whatever her name is, we don't really know her name. It could be Leilani, it could be Iolanthea, it could be Lolanthea, it could be Lorian, it could be, you know, there's, there is a lot of questions about her immigration status, about the information that she uses, the information that she used to join the military. There's a lot of questions about disability benefits because James Hart sits on that health board for determining disability for our veterans, and there is questions what is going on there because there are allegations that there's fraud going on in the VA. Who could imagine that, right? Who could imagine that? We've known that there's fraud going on in the VA, but I'm telling you, I suspect that it's far worse than what we even knew. So, this is the taxpayers' money. So we have investigated on our own dime, our own time. Team Find Richard Halliday. We've been the chief investigators that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe made us to be, that the CID made us to be, that the CID even in Quantico made us to be. And so we've done this on our own dime. We've done this on our own time. We've done this with our own risks, absolutely risks. And we're, connecting all the dots now, haven't we? We've connected so many dots when it comes to motive, and the latest being these arrests in July of 2020. We believe that the complaints that Richard was making resulted in arrests in July of 2020, and that set off a lot of tempers, and those tempers, we believe, issued a code red on Richard. No stops. All go to destroy Richard. And you have to remember Richard's case started way before he went missing. And so the word was out, and we have this criminal complaint affidavit that was notarized by Leilani Hart, and the language of it, to me, it seems like it was very hectic. It was a panic to get that in. And so a rush to get that in. And that's what it looks like to me. So it looks like if someone's going to rush to get something in, then they know something. They know something behind the scenes. So we want to confirm, this is the breaking news. We want to confirm that we have the location of the vehicle. This is the 2004 Pontiac Montana. And it is a minivan. It is white. We have all the information. But its license plate begins with a CH. Also, it has that OnStar GPS data, and that's important too. We've also confirmed information about the Van Buren Avenue house. That is of very big interest to us. And that house has some interesting things going on, but we've confirmed that the system for ownership of that house was tampered with, and they tried to erase the ownership of that house. So, but anyway, we just want to confirm that it was tampered with, and we have lots of information pertaining to that. So, these property records. Um, we also have institutional support gaining and confirmation that they are now running the phone numbers. They're running um, the online fake sites. Uh, they're running those profiles. They're doing the tracing. We did the tracing. Team Find Richard Halliday did of the burner phones. Now we have confirmation that institutional support now is running their programs, which I'm sure are much better than our programs. Um, the NSA, right? The NSA. Not that uh, I'm just saying the NSA has some really good stuff. So whoever, um, I'm talking too much. I'm talking too much, but we're so transparent. But we do have institutional help that is tracing the numbers and the sites and the profiles. And I think that and more and more. And I was definitely given the green flag to say that publicly, um, which is really important because people have to know, even if it's in limited amount. People have to know, especially our service members. They have to know that some things are going on behind the scenes. After 3 years, it's so demoralizing, right? Um, to see our agencies and our institutions act like they have and let us down and betray us. And so to find out that there is a shift now, a shift towards justice, towards doing the right thing, and that there are institutions that are um, doing the some investigation work, giving us some information, is really very, very good, very comforting. And if it's comforting for us, then it needs to get out. And I've said this to anyone that I've talked to, that it needs to get out to our service members. Because think about what we've been through at the beginning. For how long was it until we really broke the narrative of all the smears that were put on Richard? I mean, for the longest time, people just thought the worst. And I'm sure there's still some that have not kept up with this case and still think that the beginning narrative is true. Um, but, Richard is looking very, very good, y'all. He's looking so good. And we have done so much investigating on him alone, because this whole case is about trying to find out um, where he is and what was going on before he disappeared. And so we've been investigating everything about him. And I have to say, as a mother, um, that was really always ready to hear about Richard. Hear about, are you ready to hear about your son? Yes, I'm ready to hear about my son. And even the news would ask me, are you ready to hear about your son? And I'm like, yes, I'm ready to hear about my son. And I even said on um, on the media, I said, this is the first time in my motherhood that I hope that Richard was a jerk, because that would mean that he was alive. Um, but God had a different plan. Richard looks really good. He looks so good. Um, and he paid the ultimate price for taking that stand for the children, against fraud, against waste, against abuse, against all kinds of misdoings on Fort Bliss and within Park University. And Park University is not an institution. It is a business. It's a very privileged business because when you have the taxpayers paying for your brick and mortar, for your air condition, for your water, for your maintenance, everything, um, then you're going to make a pretty penny. You're very privileged. Um, at the same time, these are our service members. These are our volunteer sons and daughters. And so Park University should also be obligated to take care of our soldiers, to make sure that Park University campus within the Fort Bliss footprint that is paid for by the taxpayers is a safe place, is a moral place, is a place that of learning and training, um, and that the professors, the faculty is held at very high standards. No hanky panky with the students, but that's not what has been happening, y'all. There's been hanky panky with teachers and students. There has been no vetting. Look at we're hearing that Lalani Hart was part of um, the CID internship because she wanted a badge. We know she wanted a badge, and even though she was looking into psychology, I think that was her major, psychology. She wanted a badge more than anything, and so did she go into the CID internship with Richard? That's what I want to know. And how in the world did this convicted criminal with a judge at her conviction, part of her punishment was to get her clinically, mentally tested. Okay? Because the judge felt like she was not clinically, mentally sane. Um, that there was a real problem there. And that was part of her punishment. That's odd. So it had to have been very bad. And why is Park University not vetting? They can't just let anybody go through their law enforcement courses and get a badge, right? And get a degree. And, anytime a university gives a degree, it's a reflection of the university. And so, why aren't they vetting? They wanted Lalani Hart, where they absolutely knew that there was a problem with Lalani Hart because we have witness testimony of a lot of nonsense going on, and also um, her her complaints that she made against the faculty. She made complaints that were false complaints, that were deemed false complaints of the faculty. And how can she get away with that without a simple background check to see that she has a history of this harassment, that she has a history of a criminal background, and they are letting soldiers be around this person. They are allowing this person to go forward to try to get a degree from them. There needs to be vetting, y'all. There needs to be vetting, and there doesn't seem to be vetting. And as far as a business plan goes, it's bad because now um, I know their enrollment was low anyway. Yeah, because they rather cover up for criminals than try to help a family with a missing soldier that was attending Park University. Uh, you know, it's really, in my opinion, it's the wrong approach because it really does not give a good impression. And who wants a degree from a university that can't even give a good impression? Yeah. So I think they are liable for so many things. Absolutely liable. Thank you so much, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Danielle. U.S. Army and others need to find Richard Halliday and bring him home. Enough is enough. Thank you, Danielle. Patty, may God continue to give you strength and answers. Thank you so much. And Anicia, Richard is our hero. We love you. We love your Richard. Yes. Um, can you imagine what he stood up against? The barracks, having to live in the barracks where it is a marketplace for illegal drugs, for Chagra's business plan. That's what the barracks were Chagra's business plan, where he could sell his fentanyl, he could sell his LSD laced little cartoon papers, he could sell his cocaine right there with impunity. And thank God that that ended and he was arrested. That should tell you something. Maybe the dealers have switched over, or maybe Team Find Richard Halliday has had some kind of impact there. I don't know. But we also know that the barracks were flush with weapons. So there was a lot of problems in the barracks, and so many suicides, so much PTSD, so many disabled vets, right? So many disabled vets. It seems like, they get medically put out. Um, they get their disability. Their disability is normally for mental health issues, PTSD, and everything, because there's no justice, right? There's no justice. That's what makes us really have PTSD, is when we see things that are wrong, and there's no response to the crimes. There's no response to the injustice. And this is what's going on with our key witness there in I have a little hair on my eye. A little Our key witness that's been unjustly banned from accessing Fort Bliss, and as an officer of the court could help more by getting on Fort Bliss to solve where Richard is. And no, and that's why he's been banned, to obstruct justice, to deny due process. And so we know that the allegations against our key witness are false, because Thomas Kane said so, right? Thomas Kane said so. Thomas Kane, the chief of security of Fort Bliss, that the JAG were working outside of the law, that they banned our key witness without an investigation, without a packet, without a notification, without letting our key witness defend himself. And so we know that they're working outside of the law, because that's not the American way, is it? And here it is, our military. They should be the epicenter of defending the Constitution and acting out the Constitution in everything that they do. And yet here we are with this kind of criminality. So make sure I got everything that I wanted to say. Yeah, that they are going to trace everything backwards. We do have confirmation on the location of the vehicle. The vehicle having a license plate of CH, beginning with CH. And our response that we got from the Major General Eisenhower, we still need letters to him, and that's what we've been doing. And so if you want to join us, we really appreciate it, because he really has nothing else to do but to lift the ban on our key witness. That is really the right choice to make. And if he cares about Richard, he must do that because the allegations are false against our key witness, and they look like they're going to be liable for the obstruction of justice, for the denial of due process, and for the cover-up of a missing soldier, which I think is really about treasonous, right? This code red, it's very serious. Very, very serious. Yes, we do have intel that is shocking, that says that Amber Chase is working in the same office as James Hart. They work together in Veterans Affairs, um, disability benefits, right? And there's more. And there's more to that. So that is all. That would explain a lot. That would explain so much. Um, Absolutely, her knowledge of James, of Dallas Hart, her not her all the leaks that she was getting, because you see, if you work in the VA, if you work for veterans benefits, you have access to sensitive information, sensitive files, right? All the medical files, all of the military files. And so they had Rob's. And I think that they were trying to go through Rob's with a fine-tooth comb to see if they could find anything on my husband, on Richard's father. And he's just so honorable. He really is. He has the integrity. He has the loyalty to defending the Constitution, the country, the land, the people. Absolutely. And so, but if someone had any little thing in their background, they would go after it, and I think that's reprehensible. Absolutely. So to twist and turn who who we are, so that it would take focus off of who Richard is and where Richard is and who did what to Richard and why did they do it. And so we pretty much understand that this has to do with uh, covering up the CPS, the CID, trying to preserve the scam that they had going on for so long. And, now we're exposing it. And so now we need to absolutely have a military, right? But we need to definitely retrench and think about what we're doing. So, okay, everyone. See if there's anything. There's so much. Um, this ownership of the house, that's very interesting. What happened to this vehicle? We will absolutely get back to you when we confirm everything, but I can tell you this, we have the location of the vehicle. So thank you so much, everyone, and I will be back. I already uploaded a TikTok right before I came on, and the one thing that we really, really need is to pray and to hedge this soldier for this congressional hearing. And it's really important because all the pieces are coming together for Richard, that he was pursuing a career in law enforcement. He met up with those that are up to no good, that were not vetted, that were allowed to be there and cause trouble. Leilani Hart should never have, she should be banned from Fort Bliss, because look, she went in on Park University and made a mess of it, and brought a lot of problems to a lot of the faculty there, and then went over to CID and was having an affair with Tavita Nusa, Special Agent Tavita Nusa, causing a lot of trouble in that office there. And so where's the vetting? Where is the vetting Where is the justice when you allow someone like Lilani Hart, Ilanthia Hart, Lolanthia Hart, Lorian Hart, whatever her name is, um, when you let her um, get the priority and defend her misdeeds? And I understand she's young. I understand that. But, we shouldn't. We shouldn't support the unjust, right? We should always support the just, and I think that's um, a very good lesson. And we just want to thank you all. We love you all, and we will be back. We will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.